Yastu sarvāni bhūtānyatmaņyevānupashyati sarvabhūteshu chātmānam tato na vijugupsate. Yastu sarvāni bhūtānyatmaņyevānupashyati sarvabhūteshu chātmānam tato na vijugupsate. He indeed who perceives all beings in the very self and the self in all beings. Yastu sarvāni bhūtāni atmani anupashyati. Anupashyati means he who perceives sarvāni bhūtāni, all beings, atmani, in the self, and sarvabhūteshu chātmānam, and the self in all beings. Tataha, then he feels na vijugupsate, no animosity, no abhorrence, no otherness. Yastu sarvāni bhūtānyatmaņyeva anupashyati. It all boils down to that pashyati, that perception. The perception of seeing the self in everything and everything in the self. Such a person has no animosity, no abhorrence. There is no otherness. Na vijugupsate. Now, why that sigh of exasperation is how these people have managed to package all that into those words is something which is just baffling. I don't know whether any man can achieve what these men have done. Outstanding, astounding wisdom, astounding. Unparalleled. Now, mantras 4 and 5 indicated Brahman from a microcosmic perspective and a macrocosmic perspective. What is that Brahman with reference to the individual and the cosmos, the macrocosm? And he also said in the previous mantra, if you remember, we said, Tade jati, tannai jati, tadhure tadvantike, antarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha. It is inside you, it is outside you, it is even beyond outside. It is beyond the furthermost point that you can conceive. So he's indicated where you can locate Brahman, where all Brahman is. It is within the microcosm. In the fourth mantra, he said the microcosm. In the fifth mantra, the macrocosm, and he said beyond it. Now, mantra 6 and 7, if you have taken the journey to locate that Brahman, if you have embarked on the journey of self-realization, where would you reach? What is that goal? The sixth mantra is talking about an aspirant who reaches the verge of realization, a state known as partial realization, known as Savikalpa Samadhi. Mantra 6 is talking about partial realization, And mantra 7 talks about nirvikalpa samadhi, known as total realization. So mantra 6 is one step short of realization. Mantra 7 is that absolute state of realization. Now, in order to understand the depth of these two mantras, I will have to lead you all through the concepts of extrinsic and intrinsic illusion. When one has crossed the extrinsic illusion, you reach a state of partial realization. Repeat, when you cross the extrinsic illusion, you reach a state of partial realization. And when you cross the intrinsic illusion, you reach a state of total realization. So we're talking about the two spiritual states, which is almost the pinnacle of spiritual glory, the very top, the very ultimate state. Now, in order to understand that, I need to expand on what these illusions are. That's why I said I will sail you through these concepts. We owe every word of it. I mean, every word of it we owe to the great Ramatirtha, the great Swami Ramatirtha, who died at a very young age. I think 30, at the age of 30, 33, 32, I think. 32, he died. And a man who did not write a book, a man who didn't start an ashram, a man who didn't do any effort to spread his works, but the only thing he did, he didn't arrogate it. All he did was he just lectured. And in those early, he died in 1902, if I'm not wrong. And nobody knows of it because nobody talks of it because nobody knows of it. In fact, I have heard so many times my guru saying, if India has produced a saint, it is Swami Ramatirtha. And none of you have heard of him. And you talk of every other saint because you only know of them. You don't know of this man. You have not heard of him. You have not read of him. You have not understood him. But I thought that was a very daring statement for my guru to keep saying, if this world has seen a saint, it is Swami Ramatirtha. If India has produced a saint, it is Swami Ramatirtha. So and I have told time and again, you all to get hold of his works. His works are known as In Woods of God Realization. Some of you may have bought it and put it in the shelves. That is of no use. Take it off the shelf and start reading. In Woods of God Realization by Swami Ramatirtha. It comes in 7 volumes. Each book is this thick. And these are all lectures, transcript of his live lectures, which he delivered in US, in Japan, and some in India. He did not write a book, so it is actually his live lecture. Somebody got hold of it, somebody captured it, and it came out. I would recommend each of you, we could put in the effort of giving you, Rajima, please do that. The effort of where you recently procured a set. In fact, the last birthday, Rajima and Hariji, they landed up in the center in the morning and they gave me a few kgs of gold. They literally gave me 2-3 kgs of gold. And when I unwrapped it, it was this 7 books of God realization, which was given as a gift to me. She thought I did not have it, but I have had it for over 30 years now. But I still have kept it in the shelf in the center. Any one of you come here, use the opportunity to get hold of this book to read. But I understand it's also available for a free download. The entire 7 volumes are available for a free download, but you will not gain the wisdom if you want to gain it for free. So forget that free download. First, pay that little to that guru who has done so much to humanity. The least you can do is pay the price that they have asked for, if not more. I were you, I'll give 50%, 100%, a few more dollars, a few more rupees to it. But don't say, oh, free download is available. If you click, I'll download. Nothing, it will get downloaded in the system. Nothing will get into you. Don't take anything just because it is coming for free. That is not the attitude of a sadhak. That is not the attitude of a student. I've given you the works, and this particular concept of illusions, the 2 illusions, comes in the 2nd volume of the book. And the chapter, the topic he talks on is the why, when, wherefore of the world. The why, when, wherefore of the world. Volume 2 of the book talks of this extrinsic and intrinsic illusion. All I will be doing is giving you an insight into what that grand concept is. No other Mahatma has even attempted to explain. Forget capturing or explaining. Nobody has even attempted. There is only a mention of these 2 illusions in the Mandukya Upanishad. No other Upanishads have captured it. So if one man has captured it, it's the great Amatirtha, and we owe it to him. And my sincere salutations and prostrations to him. You may be wondering, why am I being so sentimental? It is not so. You have to understand what is coming our way. If not for that man, we would not know. And again, there is a indirect mention in the Isavasyopanishad. The Isavasyopanishad is not saying this is intrinsic illusion. It is not saying this extrinsic illusion. They are only saying partial realization, total realization. But what is that? What is that experience? The Upanishads don't talk of it. The Upanishads don't talk. The Vedas doesn't talk. The Gita doesn't talk. The Prakriyas doesn't talk. How would you know? These are the authorities of our knowledge. Thanks to great Amatirtha. Now, there are 2 illusions. Is the intrinsic and extrinsic. The word illusion is known as a Maya, M-A-Y-A, and the word Maya is also known as Anirvachaniya. Sorry, what am I doing? Why am I not able to spell it out? Anirvachaniya, correct. The Sanskrit word Anirvachaniya. Vachaniya means you can't express. So I was not able to express the very word itself. There you know where I am and where Amatirtha is. You're wasting your time with me. I tell you, you find another guru out there. Don't waste your time. I am very serious. Don't come anymore. I can't even pronounce the word Maniji. Please cancel your ticket, sir. Angende Chennai Hyderabad varinga. Don't come, sir. Find another guru, find another place where you can spend your valuable time and your resources. I can't even spend Anirvachaniya and then I'm trying to explain illusion. Only the Lord's blessings only will help. Now the word Anirvachaniya is another name for the word Maya or illusion. And that means that which is indescribable. You have been wondering that reality is something which can't be captured in words. But the great Ramatirtha says even this illusion is indescribable. Adengappa. I can't understand Brahman, but he's saying you can't even describe this illusion. So the word anirvachaniya, which means indescribable. Now, what is the word Maya? The Maya means the world. The world that you and I are experiencing is a Maya, is an illusion. And you and I are caught up in these two fantastic illusions known as the extrinsic and intrinsic. Now, you ask this fundamental question, is the world real to you? They only said the world is not real. I don't want to get into the explanation of it. I can spend another half an hour in explaining just this concept. I don't want to lose my track. When you ask the world, is the world real? They said, no, it's not real. Is the food in your plate real? It is not real. Nothing, it's not real. Oh, is it unreal? No, it is not unreal either. Sir, please make up your mind. Is it real or unreal? No, sir, it is neither real nor unreal. Oh, is it there is a combination of these two, unreal and real? You think, is there a possibility that these two elements are seemingly coexisting, that unreality and reality are together? They say it is neither partly real nor partly unreal. Oh my God. I thought I didn't understand God. I was quite comfortable. I understand that is okay. But now I don't understand the world also. The world which is Maya, which is anirvachaniya, which is indescribable, because you don't know how to explain this Maya, this illusion. It is neither real, it's neither unreal, it's neither partly real nor partly unreal. Then what the heaven is it? That is what they say, it is Maya. You cannot understand it. You only need this wisdom to dislodge you from it. Just knock you off your feet, just put you off your balance and transport you to that state. So don't waste your time in trying to understand this illusion. All you must try to is to get out of this illusion. Oh, I want to brainstorm this intrinsic and extrinsic illusion. Don't waste your time. It's not the point of understanding and brainstorming this illusion. Spirituality is not in trying to capture the concepts. Spirituality is to transcend the illusion. You got to get out of it. And the best of us, the best of things you're doing is all we are caught up in it. We are caught up in the best of things I may be doing today. Oh, I am so excited. So many things that's happening for me and I'm evolving. All illusion, pa. Oh, my children are doing so well. Illusion, pa. Oh, my finances have gone extremely high. All my investments have given me rich reward. Illusion, pa. Everybody is talking so nice about me. I have created a great name. I've got a lot of power. Illusion, pa. Just get out of it. Don't get caught up in it. So the attempt is not to understand. Please, but that doesn't mean you don't switch off. Thank you very much, sir. Therefore, I will switch off. You don't have to switch off. Please, it's going to be a somewhat salting session. But remember, ultimately, you got to conquer, get out of it. Okay. Now, what does this illusion do? The illusion, both the illusions, creates a delusion. The illusions that you are experiencing, which we are caught up in, creates a delusion, and the result of that is you do not perceive the reality. You don't know what the truth is. You have not experienced it. All what you and I have done is just heard about it. Oh, there's something called as a state of self-realization. There's something known as that which is my birthright. It is what is your dharma. Oh, is that so? Some of us have heard it for a while and we are acquainted with it. Some of them who don't know, they say, oh, is that so? I never knew that that's my birthright. I never knew I need to go and attain that state, get to that state of realization. But the illusion creates a delusion where you don't perceive the truth or the reality. Now, let's get into, I'll give you a brief overview. You have the references, fall back on it. Get hold of the books. I will also want to hear personally from each one of you, directly to me. Guruji, I've got it. At least you have got the first step of buying the books. Then when you have read, then you message me directly. It could be 50 messages coming. I don't mind being disturbed by each one of you telling, Guruji, I've ordered the books. The books have arrived. It's like, what do you call this? Track, I want to track you all, whether you all are doing what has been told. First, order the books, inform me. I've received the books, inform me. I've opened the books, inform me. I've started reading the books, inform me. Thereafter, don't inform me. Thereafter, it is your luck, whether what you understand, don't understand. At least to that extent, I've brought you. Please do that. Don't hesitate. So many things you order in life. We add one more thing. Intrinsic illusion. Now, in an intrinsic illusion, you only perceive either the real object or the illusory object. In an intrinsic illusion, you either see the real object or the illusory object. These both do not coexist. They don't coexist. Means either you see the real or the illusory. So when you see one of the either, it is an intrinsic illusion. A simple example. I'm taking different examples so that when you take the classic example, then you know how both reflect in both the illusions are reflecting. So let's take the simple example of a child who sees a post in the dark, something that is in the dark. He sees a post and he misapprehends it to be a ghost. He's terrified. He sees a ghost where there's a post. So it is the darkness that brings about a misapprehension of a post to be a ghost. So when the child sees the post, he does not see the ghost. At the same time, when he sees the ghost, he does not see the post. You only see one. So when you see when you see the illusory object, you don't see the real object. So the illusory object, when you see only one, that is intrinsic illusion. This is straightforward. Now, extrinsic illusion is where you see three things at the same time. The three things that you see are the real object, the illusory object. The third is the medium which creates that illusory object. I repeat, the three things that you see are the real object, the illusory object, perhaps you can say it's the image, the real object, the illusory object is the image, and the medium which creates that image. Three things: real object, the illusory object, which is the image, and the medium which creates that image. A simple example could be, none of it of mine is original. Nothing is original. I'm actually just borrowed it, you may say verbatim from them. Nothing is mine. I'm shamelessly admitting, nothing is mine. So there's nothing wrong in admitting it. You got to be very upright with it. And then he puts it so beautifully. An example, he says, when you stand in front of a mirror, what do you see? You see yourself. You see your reflection in the mirror. And you also see the medium, which is the mirror, which has created the image in the mirror, isn't it? I repeat, when you stand in front of the mirror, what you see is you yourself, which is the real object. What you see is your reflection, which is the illusory object, which is the image. Because as you walk away from the mirror, what happens to the image? There's no more image. Image is gone. But you exist. You are the reality. You stand in front of the mirror, the illusory object which appears in the mirror also is seen. And you also see the mirror, which is causing that, creating that image, which is the medium for creation of the illusory object. And this is extrinsic illusion. So in intrinsic illusion, you only see the real object or the illusory object. In extrinsic illusion, you see the real object, you see the illusory object, you see the medium which creates the illusion of the illusory object's existence. It creates it. Without the mirror, there's no reflection. Now, these are two independent illusions, the intrinsic and extrinsic. Now, what the masters are saying is both these illusions are actually playing at the same time. So you and I are caught up in both these illusions, which is extrinsic and intrinsic. Both illusions were caught up. So both illusions are playing at the same time. Now, how is it it's happening at the same time? Now we come to the classic example of the rope and the snake. Classic. If not for the rope and the snake, I think Vedanta will be incomplete. Every guru has adopted it. Every master has made it immortal. You may attain moksha, but you will still not forget the snake. You may have not seen a snake. You would have heard enough of snake in the Vedantic discourses. Now, you take the example of the rope and the snake. When a boy treads on something soft in the dark, in the backyard, he sees a snake. When the boy sees a snake, he does not see the rope. That is intrinsic illusion. It's not rocket science to understand that. Am I right? Because in intrinsic illusion, you only see either the real object or the illusory object. All right. So when you see the rope, there is no snake. When you see the snake, there's no rope. Intrinsic illusion. Now, if you examine the description of the boy, the mother who is very concerned when the child claims that he's bitten by a snake, the child is asked by the mother, very concernedly, having attended to him, so where did you see the snake? The child gives the description of the snake. He says it is almost, I think it is 10 feet long, very big snake. Oh, 10 feet long. Oh yeah, very, very big snake. Oh, okay. I think it would this thick. Oh, then it must be a python then. This thick. I think 5 inches thick, this thick. And darkish brown and black color. It had also spots here everywhere. Oh, okay. But I instantly knew what he's talking about. Because just 2 days ago, she went and bought a thick hose for the garden. And she knew exactly what she got. And our friend is giving description of the snake that has bitten him. 10 feet long, 4 inches thick, with all spots. That was the description. Let's find out what description is that. Now, when the boy describes it, what are the properties he's describing? The boy has projected a snake over the rope. What the boy is describing is properties of the snake, isn't it? What's the properties of a snake? 10 feet long, 5 inches thick, black and brown and spotted. This is a description of a snake, which is the illusory object. These are also the properties of the rope, which is exactly the qualities which he is actually borrowed from. The qualities of the rope is that which is projected onto the snake, isn't it? If not for the rope, where did the snake come from? The snake has come from the rope. So the properties of the snake, the properties of the rope, and the very snake, which is the medium which has created that illusion. The three things that you are seeing: the properties of the rope, the properties of the snake, and the very snake which is created the medium for the creation of the snake. Without that medium, there was no illusion, which is the origin of the snake itself. Like without the mirror, there is no reflection. The reflection is your illusory object. So the moment the snake was projected on the rope, the very snake becomes the medium. This is what you got to understand. If at all you will find difficulties to understand this, the moment the snake was projected, the very snake becomes the medium. So in the example of the snake and the rope, there is the play of extrinsic, where you only see the snake, not the rope, only one. Extrinsic illusion. Intrinsic illusion is when you describe what you're perceiving. You're actually describing the properties of the rope, the properties of the snake, and the medium, which is a snake, which has created the illusion itself. Are you all following, or half of you already asleep? Some people are yawning, some people are already sleeping. I can hear some people snoring also. Are you all following? Some people have disappeared also. And suddenly Reddy Garu appeared. Because I asked this question, he suddenly appeared. Huh? What, Reddy Garu? Rajima, can you give the access, please? Given, but he is not able to.
Pranam Guruji.
Namaskar.
Your question has boosted the signals of Wi-Fi. So I just went into the talk and come back. Yes, Guruji. Interesting.
Are you following?
Yes, yes, Guruji.
Yeah, following.
Yes.
Right. Good, very good. And now Shama. UK, sorry.
Namaste Guruji. In this extrinsic illusion, that last statement, the very snake which created them is the medium of the snake. That part is a little, I'm not able to understand.
See, the medium is that which brings about a sort of a parallel of a real object and illusory object, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Now go back to the example of the mirror. The mirror
yeah.
creates a mirror reflection, as we say, an exact reflection of what you are in the mirror. That happens because of the medium, the mirror itself.
Yes, yes, Guruji.
It's not that you, unless the mirror is different, when we are kids, we all had gone to these exhibitions where we have different mirrors, suddenly you'll appear like a Laurel or a Hardy.
Yeah.
You're neither Laurel or a Hardy, you are normal, but suddenly you'll appear very fat or very thin. What is this? Your nose becomes big or ears become small. All these are perverted images of yourself. But
yeah.
but if you look at a normal mirror, it gives you a clear reflection of what you are.
Yes.
If there's a blemish on your cheek, there's a blemish on your cheek. If there's a scar on your forehead, there's a scar on your forehead. If you're bald, suddenly you'll not see hair in the mirror.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with you. You're a little intoxicated. Oh, suddenly I saw myself and I'm seeing myself with a lot of hair flowing everywhere. Hey, or extra peg is after night. A bald fellow is seeing hair in the mirror. Correct? Now, as you understand that the mirror creates a perfect reflection of the real object into the illusory object. All right.
Yes.
Now, your question is, Guruji, how do you say that the snake is the medium for creating
I mean, how can it be considered as a medium? That's the.
How can it be considered as a medium? Exactly the same way as a mirror has created the medium of a parallel of the real object and the illusory object. The snake is the medium which has created a replica of an illusory object. Now you ask me, how is it? Because the qualities and properties of the snake exactly match the qualities and properties of the rope. It is not that the qualities of the rope are different to the qualities of the snake, isn't it? They are not. As I said, if there's a scar on my nose, it will appear a scar on my nose. The scar on the nose will not appear on my chin or on my shoulder. It's exactly the same. So therefore, the snake itself becomes the medium where the properties of the rope are projected onto the snake. Therefore, the snake itself is the medium.
Okay. The rope cannot be considered as the medium, Guruji, in the same way.
How can the rope be considered? If you perceive the rope as a rope, is there a snake?
Then it's a reality. No, it is a reality.
Correct. Chapter close. Illusion has ended.
Okay.
The whole problem of an illusion arises when you don't perceive the reality, isn't it? If you and I perceive the reality, you
then
see the truth, I see the truth.
No illusion at all.
As the mantra says, Anupashyati, you are the perceiver of truth. You get it?
Yeah.
So does it answer the question?
Yes.
Why is the snake the medium? Because it provides a parallel of the properties of the snake and the properties of the rope are same.
Same, yes.
In fact, when I first heard it, I remember I was just 16, 17. I remember when I first joined the ashram, I didn't understand. I don't know how many times I had to sit and rack my head. I didn't understand. It didn't get into my head. It took a long time to understand this intellectually. So don't be overwhelmed by the concept. It takes a lot to grasp. We are still with the example. We have not come to the actual implication, how we are caught up in the illusion. Okay, Ma? So far, so good?
Thank you. Yes.
Perfect. Yes. All right. Yes, Harish.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om, Harish.
Guruji, I do understand, but just to further clarify for my benefit or everybody's benefit, can I also use an example of a mirage in the desert? For example, the desert is a real object and the mirage, the lake rather, is the image. And then the moment the lake was projected, that very lake created the medium without which there is no illusion in the desert. Would that be a fair understanding as well in that context?
You're right, but I would not use any more examples to complicate it at this point.
Okay.
I'm carefully choosing a certain example to establish the understanding. Once the understanding is clear, then you can always expand to clarify the understanding, but not at the point when we are conveying the concept. Okay.
Yes, Guruji.
All right. Okay. Right. Thank you. But you are right in your comparison. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. See, why I say that is it's important to think along with the teacher, because prior to my asking, your mind has gone off trying to fit in this concept into the example of the mirage. So to that to that extent, you have lost what was what transpired. You couldn't keep your mind to it in the class. So I would humbly suggest that kind of exercise could be done beyond the class.
Yes.
So that you have independent effort and study, and then you are able to do a little bit of comparison with examples or other concepts, and you're questioning and thinking. Otherwise, the effort should be to go along with the flow. And if something you don't follow, you can always clarify. But don't think originally, do not go off tangent. Because it's an interactive class and your clarification, and I'm not here with you, Harish, because I've noted this, it happening in all the classes, it happens. When people come and contribute or comment, it is very important you are with the context. Suddenly don't come and say, oh, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said something in some textbook, or Ramana Maharshi also said something in different text. We don't want to get into that kind of a comparative study at this point. So if you have something to comment, it should be precisely to the class, because the feedback I have had is when people revisit this lectures which are being captured and posted and archived, they say that when everybody comes and comments, it almost derails them until I bring them back to the track. However, we are all very open for discussion. It's important that we are on the track. Let's not switch tracks. But I'm not telling to you, Harish, but I just thought I got an opportunity to clarify that. So we're all become very mindful, because it's a very delicate process, right, Harish?
I completely
Okay,
understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Harish. But your understanding is right. You could be fine with that. Okay, all right. Yes, Keshav Reddy Garu. Any questions, sir?
Harivam Guruji. I just wanted to know about the illusion. Is it not because of the darkness one sees the rope as a snake? Could not the medium also be contributed to darkness?
You could say it's all contributory.
Yes.
Let's say if you are in the dark, in the backyard, but there was no rope, would you see a snake?
No.
So the darkness contributes to the rope being perceived to be a snake. The fear of snakes also contributes, and you are alone in the backyard in that evening hour. So your loneliness, your fear of snakes, the darkness, and also you've heard your friend saying off late that they saw snakes nearby. When you're playing with your friends, you heard, hey, there was a snake somewhere I saw. That immediately came to your mind the moment when you press something, when your foot press something soft. The fear of being alone, the darkness, the loneliness, and the news of a snake in the vicinity. All of that contributed, but ultimately the rope had to exist there, lie there, be there for the projection into a snake. Let's thank you. Right. Ramji, you wanted to ask something? Are you there, sir? Nothing?
No, I think same thing that Keshav Reddy ji asked. So I was also thinking that either the darkness or the mind itself, because of the previous experiences or what were told earlier, could have played the trick. That's why I was thinking whether why that is not a medium. But I think you have clarified.
Right, sir. Thank you. Before I get to Hariji, Tinkima asking, is the rope the medium or the snake the medium? We already clarified and established it is the snake that is the medium. Yes, you have something further? Please go ahead, Ma.
Guruji, like about this darkness also, if there was no mirror, there would be no illusion. There would be a person, they need a mirror, only then the illusion of the image comes. If there was no darkness, then the rope would be visible. There would be no illusion of a snake, isn't it?
Very
So
nice
what
state to
role
be
of
in.
darkness? What is the role
No,
of darkness?
very nice state to be in, where there is no darkness and there is no rope, no snake. Only rope
Yeah.
is there. That is self-realization.
No, because then doesn't that become the medium for the illusion, the darkness?
So these are all, as I've said, contributory factors. They all have contributed to the fact that you have projected or misapprehended the rope. But that by itself, darkness by itself without the rope has no meaning. The darkness with the rope, your loneliness, and you have heard of snakes and the inbuilt fear of snakes, all of that have contributed. But all of that by itself, without a rope lying there, could not have projected a snake. Could it? It cannot. Therefore, we have taken these other elements in the backdrop and we just narrow it down and say it is the rope, sorry, it is a snake that has presented itself as a medium, a snake along with other contributory factors, etc., etc., etc.
And the
So, but you
second,
can,
the properties of the rope are projected on the snake or vice versa. This also I didn't understand.
you tell me.
He described what he felt, that it was, what he saw was long, it was this, and he assumed it's a snake. The properties were actually, he may never have seen a snake, 10 feet long or that wide. He may have seen a small snake also. So isn't it the properties of the rope being projected onto the snake? After all, in the mirror example, the properties of the real person are projected on the, as you said, a spot on your nose is seen in the mirror. So is it the properties of rope on the snake or the other way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What the boy is describing is the properties of the rope which are projected onto the snake.
That's what I want.
Otherwise, where would the boy get those qualities from?
That's what I wanted. Thank you.
Now, when you get to the reality of what we are experiencing in life, that which you are describing of the world are nothing but the properties of Brahman. So it is the properties of Brahman that are projected onto the world. Similarly, the properties of the rope are projected onto the snake. And the snake becomes the medium which reflects the qualities of the rope and the snake. ये पूरा जंतर मंतर है ये, no? You go to Jantar Mantar, you don't know where you entered, where you, sometimes you have this mahals of mirror rooms, and when you enter inside, it's such an optical illusion, you don't know where did I enter, where am I to exit, it completely disorients you. So this is something, that kind of an concept. It could disorient you in the beginning, but later on, once you get it, aha, kya maja aa raha hai. It's simply maja. Okay. All right, Digima?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So, I'm just taking a couple of questions from the chat box, and once I hear from Hariji, is illusion and imagination are the same or is it different? When you say imagination, it is not you're creating something out of nowhere. I imagine a mountain. You imagine you are sitting in front of a beautiful scenery. It doesn't exist. That's your imagination. It's in your mind. Illusion is that which you have created. Also, you may say it doesn't exist, but it has a certain basis. That's the difference. This is where the Ratkuchit, again, your mind is again, as Haresh said, I told Haresh, something which you should not be thinking, your mind is thinking. I have forgotten, she has made it a reality. Ratkuchit was illusion, she made Ratkuchit as a reality. I suggest some of you all close the chat boxes on your screen so you don't see all these things also. Unless something comes, I don't know, the chat box props up, I don't know. Yesterday I was telling someone, she's saying, Guruji, all these comments I'm trying to think and so many answers come and I'm inundated with the answers. I don't know what to say, what not to say. I said, close the chat box. So some of you may want to do that. Ajima, please give permission to Hariji.
Hariom.
Hariom, sir.
So for me, from what you have explained, the key word is parallel property. From the rope, I can have an illusion of only those objects which are similar to a rope. That is either a snake or a tube or whatever it may be. That is, I cannot have any other illusion. I can't see a rope and have an illusion of an elephant or a cat or anything of that sort.
Correct.
I can have an illusion of those objects which have the properties of the rope.
Correct.
Number two, for me, the darkness cannot be the medium. The medium has to be snake only, because that what is the snake has the property so that I can have the property of the original rope. If I am telling darkness as the medium, what is the property of darkness? It doesn't have any property. So darkness cannot be a medium. It has to be the snake only.
Very clearly spelled out. But I'm sure the aspect where we said there are contributory factors. Let's say the same
that is
boy,
okay.
the next morning when he goes back to the same backyard, he again doesn't see a snake. He clearly sees the rope as rope, because in bright daylight, the whole illusion is gone. And all the knowledge and the comfort which the mother gave in the late in the evening.
Not as an
Sorry, sir.
Not as an argument. It is not necessary that darkness should be there. He can see the rope at a distance, the broad daylight. Still, he can have a confusion that it is a snake.
Yeah, it could be an optical illusion.
Yeah, it is an optical illusion.
Like you, as Harish said, you may see water on a hot sunny day in a straight stretch of road ahead of you. You see a water mirage because of the optical illusion of the heat waves of the tarmac. You may see water ahead of you, but it's actually hot, dry tarmac.
Yeah.
Right. Accepted. Thank you, Ji. Yes. Yes, Harish Ji.
Guruji, if I don't know whether it's right, but if I may be permitted to just explain in a very simple way I've understood it. When you talked of the intrinsic illusion, there are two aspects to it. One, the outside or the exterior.
Harish Ji, please ask what you want to ask. We don't want to understand what you understood, because it will confuse everybody. I've explained the concept. Is there anything that you have a doubt? If I can ask you, request you to be very specific, because if you bring out in a different way, using different terminologies, different ideas, again, it will come. I'll have to correct you if required, and again, bring everybody back into that track, which I don't want to go through at this point. If there's anything that you have not understood or something requires clarification, I'll want you to comment, but don't repeat your understanding. At this point, I wouldn't want to get into it. If you're fine, because I'm trying to build a concept.
I'll take it up privately with you.
No, but you get where I'm coming from?
Absolutely.
Huh? Because if there's something that you have not understood, you can clarify. But if I were to say, okay, what is your understanding? If you're putting it differently, then it would give you a different, again, we are in a different platform, then we're trying to compare, is this what that is? Can we say that? Is this what this, that should not be the purview of what, that would go completely off track. Everybody will lose their focus, which is what I commented even to Harish. Even an example he took, I said, let's not go anything beyond what is said. That would not, as you rightly said, individually we can have a discussion. Any one of you want to clarify, you're most welcome to connect. I am more than happy, time permitting, I will be able to clarify and explain. But in a platform like this, if we get into that kind of a thing, it becomes very difficult to build a thought. I hope you are with me, Harishji, on that. Thank you, Ji. Right. Now comes the very important element, the very important aspect of how are we caught up in the illusions. We are caught up in both these illusions. We are victims of these illusions. The result of that is where you don't perceive the reality, where you see the world. When you see the world and you don't see the reality is Brahman, as the Shastras declare, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. The world is an illusion. Brahman alone is the reality. Everything in the world is nothing but Brahman and Brahman alone. Brahman is the absolute truth, the absolute reality. But when you and I perceive the world, we do not anupashyati. We don't perceive the world, we only see a world. We don't see Brahman, we only see a world. So when you see the illusory object and not the real object, you are caught up in US. Don't look at nose, Ushama. You may want to next time rename yourself, because it helps them to identify you by name. Because when they are in the participants list, they identify you by name. Now you are read still as iPad, but just a little effort, simple, just to rename yourself, so it's easier to give it the permission. Okay, ma? Yes, please. The question I'm asked is, when we know that Brahman is the reality which is all pervading, Brahman is everywhere, but when you perceive, you only perceive the world. Now, what illusion is that?
Intrinsic.
How do you say it's intrinsic?
We are only seeing one object, either the world or Brahman.
Correct. So when you see the world, what happens to Brahman?
It's illusion. It's not there.
Oh, the Brahman has become illusion now to you, huh? Correct. So when you see the world, the Brahman disappears. When you perceive the Brahman, the world disappears. Isn't it? That is intrinsic illusion. Not difficult to get there. All right. Okay. Now, when you extend the same concept further, when you experience the world and your experiences, what are the characteristics of the world? When, just like the child was asked to give the description of the snake he saw, when the intelligent people in the world who experienced the world, who understood the world, described the world, they said the world is nothing but time and space and causation. This is how they have understood and defined and captured the world. Everything is with reference to time. Time is eternal. Things have come from eternity. Things go into eternity, isn't it? You know, things have come from long, long before you existed, and things will exist beyond your existence. They've come from eternity. They will go into eternity. So the first element of the world is time. Time is eternal. And then the other element of the world is space. Space is all pervading. It's everywhere. Even in your dream, there's space. Even in your deep sleep, there is space. Space is there everywhere. So space is all pervading. This is description of the world that you're experiencing. And then they also say the world is nothing but causation. Everything has a cause and effect. And the causation is infinite. There's infinite possibilities of that cause and effect. I have one seed. That one seed produces a tree which produces 100 seeds, and 100 seeds can produce 10,000 trees. And 10,000 trees can produce 1,000,000 seeds. 1,000,000 seeds can produce 1,000,000,000 trees. It all has come from one seed. So one seed is the cause and 1,000,000,000 seeds an effect. So this cause and effect is an infinite chain that is going on and is happening. One kitten can produce infinite kittens. One human can produce infinite human beings. One dog can produce infinite dogs. Infinite chain of cause and effect going on. That's the world. It's happening in the plant kingdom. It's happening in the animal kingdom. It's happening in the human kingdom. The causation. So world is described by time, space, causation. Now time is eternal. Space is all pervading, and causation is infinite. Now, after Arunama has taken note, I want to ask her what she has taken note, because I'm very concerned what she's very seriously writing. Because tomorrow she'll say, Guruji, you only said that.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om. Now I am asking you, what is the description of the world that we just mentioned?
We said world is eternal, it is all pervading, and it is infinite.
Perfect. What is all pervading? What is the eternal, all pervading, infinite? We are trying to explain extrinsic illusion here. Now, this eternity, all pervasiveness, and infinity are qualities and attributes or properties of what?
Brahman. They are the qualities and attributes.
I repeat the question. What was it when what question I asked you earlier?
What are the, I mean, these qualities, these are qualities of what?
Not now, earlier.
What
I
are
first asked you.
the qualities of the world, the characteristics of the world that we describe? Yeah.
Correct. The qualities of the world are, that's what you said. Guruji, the qualities of the world are eternity, all pervasive, infinity, isn't it?
Yes, Guruji.
Now I ask you, the qualities of eternity, all pervasiveness, infinity are qualities of what?
I thought that's what I understood as the qualities of the world. I mean, the qualities of Brahman are being projected onto the qualities of the world.
You didn't say this.
Yeah.
You said earlier the qualities of the world, and when you said qualities of Brahman, then my immediate question would be, how do you say qualities of Brahman? Do you know Brahman? Is he your neighbor? Is he someone very close to you? How do you know him so well that you're describing him? Oh, correct, Guruji, I don't know Brahman. I am not yet realized Brahman. Then how do I describe him? Then you cannot describe him something which you do not know. Then what are you describing? Qualities of eternity, infinity, all pervasiveness, or qualities of what? These are qualities of Brahman which are being projected onto the world. But you are describing what you experience. But we are telling what you're experiencing is the qualities of Brahman which are borrowed forward and projected onto the world. Now I ask you, what are the three things that appear in extrinsic illusion? The three things that appear are?
The qualities of the world.
Just first tell the properties of the real object, the properties of
the illusory object, and the medium in which it takes place.
Correct. The three things. Now fit in. What is the properties of the real object here?
Brahman.
Properties of Brahman. The illusory object is?
The world.
The properties of the world.
Properties
And
of
then
the world.
the medium is?
The world itself?
The
No.
world itself. Don't correct yourself. It is the world itself.
World itself. Okay.
Just like the snake itself was the medium which created that illusion, here the world itself is the medium which creates that illusion. All of that would disappear if you had perceived Brahman as Brahman. Since we have not perceived Brahman as Brahman, we have created a non-apprehension and a misapprehension. The non-apprehension of Brahman creates the misapprehension as the world.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Ma. Glad you're following. So when you see the world, you perceive the qualities of Brahman, and the qualities of the world are parallel, it's reflecting. And then comes the very world itself. Are you all with me here? So far, so good. Now, all what these masters are saying, the Brahman, which is the reality, you and I are not perceiving because of ignorance of Brahman. So the ignorance of Brahman, the ignorance of the reality, is projecting these two illusions. So the ignorance is the non-apprehension, as I've just said. The ignorance, first is Brahman, next is ignorance of Brahman is the non-apprehension of Brahman, which projects the two illusions, and then comes the misapprehension, which is the actual world, which you are caught up in. So Brahman, non-apprehension, misapprehension. And in the text, I have not yet come to the text. I will not come today. I'll come back tomorrow with a revisit, and I'll explain a little further how other religions, in fact, Ramatirtha says it so profoundly. He says, to the credit of all religions, whether it be Christianity, could be Mohammedanism, could it be Islam or Buddhism, all religions have achieved to reach a state to cross extrinsic illusion, but other religions have not achieved the state of crossing intrinsic illusion. Volume 2, page 40 or 41, read there, he says it. All religions have successfully achieved to cross extrinsic, means they have come to a state of partial realization, but they have not reached a state of total realization, which is they have not achieved to cross the intrinsic illusion, attain that God realization. And that's where Vedanta is far superior to all the religions. Vedanta gives you that little edge where it has the capacity to give you total realization, not just partial realization. I don't understand what I'm saying, and I'm sure you also don't understand what you're hearing. Yeah, you only don't understand what I'm saying. How is it possible that you understand what you're hearing? Not possible. Doesn't matter. All of us will leave this class a little confused and dumbfounded. Think over it. Access the source of knowledge I've referred to. Please, we will certainly come back. I'll briefly sail you all through this. Extend the concept, complete the concept, and then connect to the mantra. Again, I'm saying mantra 6 talks about partial realization when you cross extrinsic illusion. So first you first cross the extrinsic illusion, and then you cross the intrinsic illusion. So extrinsic illusion, when you cross, you reach partial realization. When you cross the intrinsic illusion, you reach total realization, which is captured in the mantra 7. Mantra 6, mantra 7, do not forget it. Of Isavasya. Before I sign off, before we conclude, any questions, any concerns, anything you want to clarify? Harish, all okay? Okay. Sushmama, all okay?
Yeah, Guruji, I've got a question.
Yes, Sushma.
Yeah, we say the world is changing. Why again? Why? How can we say that the properties of Brahman is reflected in the world? When you look at the world, it's all changing.
Now
Which
you
Brahman,
you look at yourself. When is it last you looked at yourself in the mirror?
just before the class.
Okay. When is it you look yourself in the mirror again? Certainly right after the class, because I've taken the example. So you saw yourself in the mirror before the class. An hour or later, you look yourself in the mirror. Have you changed?
Yeah. No,
But do
I
you
don't know.
perceive? Oh,
But we can't see we change.
you
We
have
can't
grown.
perceive it.
You have gone 1 year older, haven't you? One hour older.
Yes.
Huh? The time has changed. Everything has changed. But do you perceive the change? Why? Because inherently you're asserting the changeless in the change. Even though there is change happening every minute, you don't see the change. You sit outside. As I sit here, I can see the tree out there. The tree is growing. But yet it is the same leaf, the same tree which I saw this morning, the same tree which I saw yesterday, the same tree I'll see tomorrow. And yet the tree is growing. Everything is changing, but you do not have the solidarity of the change around you. I'm only trying to establish that the changeless is the substratum in the change that you can't refute, that you can't take away. Can you? I had to surrender to an argument to establish the point, but I know where you're coming from. See, in any example, in any aspect, there are certain aspects which can be related to. You beyond a point, it becomes out of context. But still, to a certain extent, there is a valid statement, a valid argument, what you're saying, and there's justification with the argument I've given. Okay, because innately we don't see the change happening because we are the changeless. I am, even a person at deathbed, he believes he's going to die. He's not going to die. He believes the doctor is wrong and his report is wrong and something could have been wrong. I still have a few years left in me. Innately he thinks, now why is it even a person at deathbed, his doctor said, I don't think I can cure you. You're in the last stages of cancer. I think you've got a maximum week or two, if at all. But somewhere deep within he said, I think I should get a second or third opinion. I think this doctor is wrong. There's some other methodology, some other process which can save me. I think I can live another stretch for another few years. What makes him believe that he's not going to die? Because the Atman and the Brahman is, there's no death, it doesn't die. There's no birth and death to the Atman. So innately, even when the body is about to perish, you're asserting yourself to be the truth, which is the Brahman. So if you philosophize from an absolute point and see, it is very much a very valid argument. The point is we are not able to rise to that level to take that perception, to take that stand. That's about all. Okay, ma? But you argue this beyond the classroom, they think something has gone wrong with you. So don't argue to people beyond the classroom. In the classroom like this, you can entertain. But these thoughts are only for yourself, for your own reflection. You may not find an audience out there. All right. Sushmama.
Yes, Guruji, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. My question is, if I get these books, you said they are thick books, and volume 2 talks about this intrusion. Should we first start reading the second or start right from the beginning?
In fact, very good question. Nobody thinks as clearly as you do, Ma. I'm so glad you asked this fundamental question. See, all these giant intellects in this classroom can't think. Yeah, I also can't think. So thank for this simple and yet profound question. This is not a series. These are all individual lectures delivered at different times, and they all have been transcribed and captured in volumes. So there is no thought flow. You can always pick up a chapter and say, oh, this talks of happiness, this talks of various aspects of philosophy, sin and Vedantic perspective to sin, he talks. The whole chapter he talks. So you'll find it very interesting, and it's not written, so it is all live lectures. So you'll find there's certain element of him connecting. A lot of it were given to an American audience, so he connects with examples of being in US and things like that. So you can read at random.
And are they available in any good bookshop?
Rajima would help you, Ma. In fact, she will also place the order for you. Rajima, do that. Get Sushmama's address. Don't worry of it. It will reach your doorstep.
Okay. And I can pay the money at that time when they deliver it to me. Okay.
That is irrespective. That is not the point, Ma. But it will be delivered to your door. Okay, Ma?
Okay. Thank you very much, Guruji.
Most welcome. Most welcome. Yeah. All right. So we'll come back. We'll come back and please think over it. Please think over it. Don't try to improvise. Don't try to do a comparative study. Just be due diligence. Just try to limit yourself to the concept with the examples, with the phrases used, so that you are you're very clear what is being conveyed, and then you can do a comparative study or different perspectives. Okay. Yes, Rajima?
Sushmama, we have your address, so it will reach you.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.